But the problem is the sound quality is not so good. It's kind of deadened and that's a big commentary there. And some of it was pretty good. And some
It does, yeah,
me too, actually.
Oh, do you?
Good enough for your.
And we got to know. So we have to try to know it's very good. No. It's a good set, yeah.
It's basically a recommendation to do, and it will be a staff. So when I clarified earlier, when we go through this, the property, the one who wanted to maintain that area. Yeah.
That's one. Property on it.
Perfect. We'll get going here in about 2 more minutes.
Well, that's just the okay, it's just not ready to start.
Exactly, yeah. The longer.
Exactly.
That usually. Seems like it's time to. I think the hardest thing is to do slightly wages when you're on a Zoom call. And your own different abilities coming across.
So that's about the quarterly.
It's nice so
Oh, no, sure. Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you for offering.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. I'll send it. We need to order. Wait, okay. Just gonna go right into the pledge. All right, we'll start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Got everyone so trained that we just do it right off. I'm trying, what I was gonna say was, welcome everyone to the October 8th or October 2024 City Council session. We do have this meeting live streamed on YouTube, I believe. It's also being recorded, so individuals at home can watch it at their convenience or play it back if they so desire. And of course, everyone's welcome to attend here in person. What we're trying to do is give everyone the opportunity to attend or participate in City Council the best we can. Before we move on, we do have some consent agenda topic items, and I'm going to ask our limited counselors this evening if there is anyone particular that they want to pull out for regular discussion. We'll start with Councilor Young.
I do not have anything.
And we'll go to Councilor Steiner.
I do not have anything.
Okay, we'll keep that as is then. With that, we don't have a super action-packed agenda, so we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. The first one's gonna be, and do we have, yes, perfect. The first one will be a public hearing continuation from September 10th, 2024. With that, we have a legislative amendment, LA 202401, the City of Hubbard action to correct a 2001 map error to both the comprehensive plan, land use designation map, and zone map for 6 properties located on G Street. The correction would restore the properties from the commercial back to a residential designation and zoning. But with that, we do have a public hearing that we will hold here, I would say real quick, as long as it's going to take. So with that, I do have a prepared script. So what I'm going to do is read prepared script so we can go into the actual public hearing then. So with that, good evening. My name is Charles Rostiso. I am the Mayor of Hubbard, and I will be presiding over this hearing. This is the time and place set for the continued public hearing in the matter of Legislative Amendment LA 2024-01, amendment to the Hubbard Comprehensive Plan Land Use Designation Map and Hubbard Zone Map for 5 properties on G Street to correct a 2001 mapping error. The hearing is now open. It is 7:01 p.m. Oregon land use law requires several items to be read into the record at the beginning of every public hearing. The city planner will review this material. Your patience is appreciated as she goes through all of these statements. And with that, I'll hand over to Holly.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
Can't hear you, Holly.
Can't hear you, Holly.
Can you hear me now? Can anyone else online hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Holly.
Okay, so Chief can
Let's do
hear
this.
me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Testing, testing.
Well, the chief is right there. Oh, Chief Carmen can hear me.
I can still hear you, Holly.
Goes on our side.
Testing, testing. Oh, you can hear me?
The chief earlier through Zoom, so I don't know.
Is the speakers turned on in here?
Testing. Testing.
Flashback to 2020 and Zoom calls all over again.
Can you hear me now?
We have a dial in on a cell phone and just put it up to a speaker.
Testing, testing.
We didn't put a timer in on it, so we.
That's what I said. It was going to be quick. It was gonna be-
Testing. Okay, we'll try calling in.
Are you there?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I don't know if the room can hear you. Oops.
All right, hung up on her. So.
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
It's possible to use, yeah, that's that one right there.
Okay, would you like me to use speakerphone?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear her out in the audience?
Okay, I think we have it, at least a resolution in place, no, I shouldn't use that term, a workaround in place. So Holly, back to you again.
This is not the first time in the past week or so I've had to do this, so I appreciate that you're being resourceful. Apologize for that. Okay, Mayor, you said it was gonna be a not exciting meeting, but
Already got it exciting, look at that.
okay, getting back to the legal script. Here is the legal script. The applicable substantive criteria upon which this case will be decided are found in the Hubbard Development Code, the City of Hubbard Comprehensive Plan, and the Oregon statewide planning goals. The specific criteria are summarized in the staff report and will be reviewed at this hearing. All testimony and evidence received during this public hearing must be directed toward these approval criteria or to such other rule, law, regulation, or policy which you believe to apply to this case. An issue which may be the basis for an appeal to the Oregon Land Use Board of Appeals shall be raised not later than the close of the record at or following the final evidentiary hearing on this case. Such issues shall be raised with and accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford this body and the parties to this hearing an adequate opportunity to respond to each issue. This public hearing will proceed with the staff report and any other comments from governmental agencies in attendance, followed by all those who are in support of the legislative amendment, and then those opposed to the legislative amendment will be allowed to speak, followed by those with general comments who are neither for nor against the amendments. All speakers should try to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Please be sure that city staff have your name and mailing address for the record before you make your comments. Please try to avoid repetition. If someone else has already expressed the same thoughts, it's perfectly all right to state that you agree with the statements of that previous speaker. Please be assured that everyone will have an opportunity to speak. If you have documents, maps, or letters that you wish to have considered by this body, they must be formally placed into the record of this proceeding by submitting them to city staff. Thank you.
Okay, so with that out of the way, I need to ask the audience and the city council a few questions. First, I need to ask if there are any objections to the notice that was published. That has been published quite a lot, so, okay. Are there any declarations of bias by any member of this body? Councilman?
I do not.
Okay. Are there any declarations of conflict by any member of this body?
I have none.
And I have none as well. And then I do want to point out real quick, there is a good thing real quick that Holly pointed out is for those that do come up and speak, we are asking you to state your name and your city of residence, but please provide the physical address, your mailing address to Vicki offline so we can provide feedback that way. We're not trying to have everyone read their addresses into the record for public announcements. So with that, city planner, I'm going to hand it back over then to Holly and please give the staff report.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. For the record, my name is Holly Byram and I work at the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments. I serve as the contract city planner for the city of Hubbard and several other cities throughout the region. What I have this evening for the city council is a pretty straightforward legislative amendment. So this amendment was initiated as a result of staff findings in 2021. We were reviewing the city's zone maps and comprehensive plan land use designation maps, and we discovered that there had been a mapping error. It looks like it was dating back to the years 2001, and that was when the city converted their black and white maps over to color maps. And so there was a row of 6 properties along G Street in Hubbard that were incorrectly designated commercial when previously they had been residential. So on these properties, there are currently single-family homes and duplexes. And so there are 8 different dwelling units on the 5 properties that we're bringing forward this evening. This is a legislative amendment because it's more than just a zone change. You also have to change the underlying comprehensive plan map as well. And so on this evening, the recommendation from the Planning Commission is for the City Council to approve the proposed package to correct this mapping error and adopt the findings provided in the staff report. I'll go over those briefly. I do want to respect everyone's time this evening. In preparation for this map correction, city staff mailed several notices to the affected property owners. I mentioned that originally there were 6 properties affected. Of those, 5 are being used in residential use and have been since between the years 1960 and 1990 is when those homes were first built. The last property is not fully developed, and it's the closest property to the commercial 99 East Strip. And so that property owner has indicated that they bought that as a commercial property and intend to use it as a commercial property. And so that is some of the feedback that we've received during this process. So the recommendation again tonight is just for 5 properties to be restored. Some of the other research that we performed in this project is reaching out to the county assessor's office to determine what type of impact we would see for property taxes. And the Marion County tax assessor confirmed that because those properties have remained in residential use the entire time, there was no impact to tax assessment on those properties caused by the original mapping error, and there would be no impact to those properties by correcting the mapping error. At the bottom of page 2 on your staff report is a table, and that shows the situs addresses and the tax lot numbers, as well as the comprehensive plan land use designation and the zone that are proposed for these properties. What is proposed is simply to restore them to what they were in the year 2000. 3 of these properties were designated high density residential, which corresponds with the R3 zone. And 2 of the properties were designated medium density residential, which corresponds with the R2 zone. So on page 3 of the staff report, you'll see a situs map that shows the row of properties there along G Street and how they are developed currently. On page 4, you'll see that original year 2000 comprehensive plan land use designation map that shows the residential designations. And then you'll see the 2001 comprehensive plan map that doesn't have any call out for those changed properties. So the type of decision criteria that the city needs to consider when performing this type of revision to their zone map and comprehensive plan land use designation map. There are criteria in your development code, and you also need to consider the policies and goals in your comprehensive plan as well as the statewide planning goals. Big picture here is that these properties were developed with residential uses. They have remained in residential use. Staff found no findings or indication that their redesignation was intentional. We believe it was a mapping error. And so we are simply proposing to restore it to that prior designation and zone. The corresponding R2 and R3 zones are consistent with the uses that are on that property now. So we would be taking these properties that are currently in a non-conforming status and restoring them back to fully outright permitted uses in those residential zones. That makes it easier for those property owners to perform maintenance and expansion of those existing properties if they desire to do so in the future. They don't need to ask for further permission from the city because of that non-conforming status alone. And let's see here. In terms of the Oregon statewide planning goals, your comprehensive plan has been determined to be consistent with those goals. But again, big picture here, the city of Hubbard supports a variety of housing types. Preserving the existing housing where it is already developed is important, particularly when it is accessible to your nearby commercial district. And then of those statewide planning goals, the most important here being goal 10, which is your housing goal, and that emphasizes the city's obligation to provide for the housing needs of your residents. So at page 10 of the staff report, you'll see the city council action options. The Planning Commission again held their public hearing. They heard no concerns from either the impacted property owners or nearby residents, and so they are recommending approval. I'm happy to answer any questions if you like, or I believe other city staff are on hand as well to answer questions.
Perfect, and a great segue. So are there any questions of staff from the city council before we continue to accept public testimony? Councilor Center,
I have no.
Councilor Young?
I do not have any.
Okay, and just to be very clear, from what I heard is the 6 original lots, 5 will be rezoned. The one property owner requested to maintain their commercial has been exempted from the change, so they will maintain their commercial zoning. So, no questions from me on that one. So with that, I will now accept public testimony regarding this case. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of the amendment? This is always funny because it's like quiet. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the amendment? Is there anyone who would like to speak neither for nor against the amendment, aka neutral? Okay, and if there is no testimony, then there is no need for the city council or staff to address any of the testimony. So we can move on from that. So before we close the public hearing, are there any additional questions from the city council or staff or anyone? Okay, then I'm okay to close the session now, correct? Excellent. Okay, so with that, I will go ahead and close the open public hearing. It's 7:17 p.m. and the public hearing is now closed. With that, I'll go ahead and move forward that we make a motion to approve the legislative amendment package number LA 2024-01 revisions to the Hubbard Comprehensive Plan Land Use Designation Map and Zoning Map, adopting the recommended findings and directing staff to prepare and enacting the ordinance.
I'll second it.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed say nay. 3 carries. Thank you all for letting us get worked through that. That's been an open hearing that's been open for a long time.
Thank you, folks. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, Ollie.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to number 3, continued gas tax discussion. I'll let you go grab your phone. And on this one, Administrator Wade.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. During the March 12th, 2024 City Council meeting, staff presented a list of revenue options for council consideration. One of the revenue options was a 3-cent per gallon gas tax that would generate approximately $132,184 in revenue. City Council directed staff to perform additional research as to ballot timing and potential projects that this revenue source could fund. Staff returned to the City Council at the July 9th, 2024 meeting and recommended that a measure be placed on the May 3rd, 2025 ballot for a 3-cent gas tax on gasoline and diesel sales. The revenue generated by this tax can only be used on street improvements or repairs per statute. The City Council requested that staff develop suggestions for projects for council's consideration and approve the May ballot timeframe. Staff is recommending that the $132,184 estimated revenue be used to complete the sidewalk on 3rd Street between A Street and Moonbeam. And if there are any remaining funds, to resurface small street areas that would not qualify for the small city allotment program or other street improvement grants. With that, I'll turn it over to council for discussion.
Okay, so if you recall last month, as we mentioned, we requested that if anything was to be enacted, what would it be spent on? Obviously, street and or sidewalk repairs, and if you've heard, that's what they're coming back with. I don't have any questions. It makes perfect sense to me. More sidewalks, the better. Street repairs, whenever we can possibly get them done. Councilor Steiniger?
Yeah, I know I've heard plenty of people concerned about that stretch of 3rd Street, so I think it's a great option. So thank you for preparing it.
Councilor Gunn?
No, I don't have any discussion. I believe we should go ahead and proceed with the ballot measure.
Okay. So I think the ballot measures already been approved, right? We're moving forward with that or not?
Yes, so what the intention of this is for council to approve the proposed projects as staff presented. And then next month, I will come back with a resolution and ordinance. The resolution will identify what these projects are. This will also help inform communication material to our communities as far as, not that we're gonna advocate for this because we cannot, but we can provide information. So this is just one phase in the process of getting to the notice of ballot title in the election.
Do you need a motion for approval on this or consensus?
Consensus, please.
Well, it sounds like you have consensus already from us then. So let's move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one, local government grant program, Oregon Parks and Recreation Department. Again, I have to administer it away.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a very exciting topic, so I'm gonna say this council meeting is exciting.
This is super cool. I'm super excited about this.
Staff is pleased to announce that the city has been awarded the local government grant through the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department in the amount of $347,587 for the replacement of playground equipment at Revenus Park. Staff presented to the Local Government Grant Program Advisory Committee on July 25th and shared with the committee how the project aligned with the community visioning work that had been completed late winter, early spring of 2024, and with the city council goals and priorities. The committee was impressed with the participation of the community, the alignment with council goals and priorities, and that the match had already been considered within the city's adopted budget. If the grant funds are accepted by council, staff will begin the design process and the appropriation will be added to supplemental one for council's approval in November.
So over to council now. Super exciting, by the way. I do have one question for you. Now, this is we're looking at replacing playground equipment at Revenus, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Is there plans when we do that replacement to fix the drainage within that area as well? Because it likes to pool.
So I'll have to defer about the design to Melinda.
Yes, we are gonna look into that.
Okay, thank you. The only reason I'm asking it was out of a whim thing where someone mentioned to me while their kids were playing up there the other day that, wow, if it would only drain properly, we could use it in the rain. I'm like, oh, things would be better. It would be better. Okay, that would be my primary question. I'm super excited about this. An amazing, again, win for the city on getting grants back into our area. It's just fantastic. Councilor Steininger, questions you might have, concerns?
No, I just know, that park in the summer is so busy all the time, having more stuff for the kids to do. I think it's just gonna be another highlight to the city. And thank you for all the work you guys put into it.
Councilor Ronnie?
Yeah, not much to add other than I've spent a lot of time over there with my grandkids playing on that stuff. And getting some new stuff over there, some of the newer stuff, or you've got some broken plastic and things like that. It'd be really good to have some good clean stuff over there, absolutely. So yeah, let's go ahead and move forward with this. Do you need a motion or?
We need a motion to vote because we're looking to signature, right?
To accept?
So this is just to accept, we're waiting on contract documents. I don't know what those are gonna look like yet. But to accept it so I can put it in the supplemental budget.
So then I make a motion to accept the local government grant through the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department and authorize the city administrator to execute the agreement and other contract related documents to replace playground equipment at Revenus Park.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed say nay. All right, carries. Councilor Steiner, for making me all
No, sorry.
With that, the next area here is appearance of interested citizens. So this is an opportunity. If you've already signed up to please come up and speak. You're more than willing or free to voice concerns or anything you'd like to speak. Council cannot respond back to you, but the city staff and or council will get back to you at a later date. Again, if you do decide to come up and speak, you only need to give your You don't need to give your full address. Please just give that to Director Noble. You just have to provide your name and your city of residence. So anyone want to come up and speak? You guys are always so quiet. But I'm just happy there's 4 people in the audience today, so awesome. Do we have anyone online outside of the Chief Department? No. Okay, we're just gonna keep moving on forward then. Mayor and or council presentations. I don't have any general presentation, but I do want to say excellent job to the Hubbard City Police Department on the response that they did last week on a very complex issue. And also kudos just the general leadership in City Hall, because the postmortem that you guys did, or the retrospective, whatever we call those nowadays, came out with some amazing findings and some good action items. So again, thank you. We had an incident. The police department did a fantastic job and amazing cooperation with all the other agencies as well. And on top of that, doing a breakdown afterwards of what went well, what didn't go well, et cetera, and areas to improve, showing that we are taking very seriously how do we improve every day. So thank you guys, all of you. Next one is to our city administration staff.
Well, I have something.
Julie and Megan and everyone in there on your guys' newsletter quarterly. It was awesome. It was really exciting to see something new and fresh kind of show up in the water bill. Well done, colorful. Thank you. But now back to Councilor Conley.
I apologize. You want to go, guys? Okay, so, as we brought this up last city council meeting, and I don't see it on the agenda tonight, but I would kind of like to bring this up so maybe we can give the city staff some direction. So this has to do with employee compensation. So it was recommended that there was a lot of incentives to remove a lot of incentives for employees, and I saw a whole lot of red. Having been down this road several times before, 2 major times, several minor times, read the tweet, employee compensation. I got a little concerned when I see a lot of that stuff being eliminated. So everyone, understand the budget is the primary driving factor behind all this. Everyone wants to be fairly compensated for their work, for their employees. So that, gotta kind of understand where the city has been. Hubbard historically has operated on a base plus incentive compensation for many years. So that's, we've kind of hired in people like on the lower half, lower third of the compensation as cities go, and then allowed them to achieve certain goals that helps out the city. That, our wastewater treatment, our public works has been a big one. Police department is a big one. Our city administration has also been involved in that, and that allows them to improve their ability to perform work for the city, and we give them that compensation for improving themselves within gives them a chance to move up per se in income. Again, the original idea was to hire people, on the lower end, and then allow them to achieve through incentives and help out the city. So they're more proficient at their job. It allows them more flexibility within departments. So if we start eliminating these things, then we may end up raising our base wage to attract people down the road. And we saw that earlier this year with our summer help. We had to go out and had to increase the base pay for our summer help so that we can get somebody hired in. And we've seen that already. So, it's something I want to make sure that's kind of clear is it's not like somebody says, well, I'm just going to go out and get this certificate. The department head already has to approve that. And in times in the past, it's been, up to the city council, whether we're approving certain funds being spent for their education. And that makes them a better employee. Some of these certifications are 1 year, 3 years in the process of getting them trained up. That, it's not something they do overnight. It's not something they do in 6 weeks. And these are year 2-3 years plus programs. So, and again, we're getting a better employee out of this. You know, so, what I'm kind of getting at here is, we're not trying to change anybody's current compensation package.
Nope.
Okay, so we gotta understand that. So these are new employees. We're not looking at hiring, hopefully, a bunch of new people, except the police department, in a short-term basis, and they're on their own contract anyway. They're represented by union and they have their own contract. So this is outside of that contract. So we're not looking at having to hire a bunch of new people in a short-term process here. So we have a little bit of time to work with this, okay? And so, you know, here recently we've had to add 3 new positions, a couple of new positions, one here in the city hall and one over in Public Works, and then our wonderful city administrator. And I'm not recommending we eliminate any of those positions. Absolutely not. We need the staffing. We're a growing community. What I would recommend is we go out and we do another study. We go, you know, Molalla, Jefferson, Canby, Oregon City. Let's take a look and see how they are compensating their employees. We're kind of the oddball out where we do a base plus an incentive. So it's really kind of hard to compare apples and oranges in that situation, which I've been through before. But I would strongly urge us, before we start eliminating these incentives, let's take a look at the market. And we've got time to work with you. We've got several years before we're going to have to start replacing significant staff. If we're looking at savings for staff wise, and maybe this is just a new employee thing, maybe it's something we want to look at, but we cover 100% of healthcare for the staff and their family. Nothing wrong with that. That's part of the overall compensation package, which we give our employees. It's a great thing. You know, the larger the family, the better the more expensive it is. But healthcare costs have been going up a lot faster than any inflation. I mean, absolutely, it just climbs every year. It's ridiculous. So maybe that's something when we're looking at cost savings to the city, maybe there should be some cost share. I mean, it should be a 5%, a 10% cost share when it comes to healthcare. That's something that I would strongly urge us to take a look at as a budgeting consideration. And again, that might be just the new employees coming on board down the road. You know, so that's what I would strongly urge us to do. I mean, notwithstanding the police union, we need to go out and we need to take a look at what the market is bearing right now in that case. You know, what are these cities around us? What are these communities about our size, or even some of the larger ones nearby? Let's take a look at that. We have time. You know, we got a year before we have to, you know, start looking at hiring a bunch of new people, or 2-3 years. So I would strongly urge us to go that route, give staff direction to go out and do these studies. That's what we've done in the past. I would strongly urge us, before we start, you know, cutting out a huge amount of incentives, let's see what the market is. Let's see what's going on. And then the other thing is when it comes to budgeting issues. Okay, so one of the things we've done recently is we've added fees. So, you know, there's a public safety fee we just instituted, and then we have the general service fee, and we pay these things at a certain dollar. It's just $25, you know, a month. Can we index these things as into like the CPI, the Consumer Price Index? So that way, once a year, we can, you know, instead of just, it's set in stone at $25, that we put that in, I don't know, 10 years ago, $25 does not go anywhere near as far as it did 10 years ago. So maybe we're going to take some of these fees and peg them to an index. So that way, you know, we're not losing ground on these fees. Admittedly, you know, I don't want to overburden the citizens of Hubbard. Absolutely. I live in Hubbard. I have neighbors. years. I have been, living here in town, you know, we have to pay these fees, and so I don't want to overburden me, my family, my neighbors, absolutely. But maybe we should peg these to an index of some sort, like once a year, once every couple of years, we take a look at it and update these fees for, you know, so that way we can maybe deal with some of these budgeting issues. I know there are things that are increasing faster than inflation for sure. Healthcare along with a lot of other things. So those are a couple of my ideas out there. So I don't know if the rest of the council would be up for asking staff to go out and do a compensation study.
Let me speak real quick, Mr. Richard. 7 years I've been behind here. I've seen 3 wage things come across my desk. Our city pays very well. I'm just gonna be frank. We can do another one. It's not gonna tell me anything we haven't already seen multiple times. In fact, it's not hard to pull. You can pretty much pull it off of any job rec board now as well. You can see what everyone's posting things for. If you would be happy seeing that, and if Councilor Steininger would like to see the same thing, I could also send out what I've already got from over 2 years ago. We actually have a great wage one done when the mystery what was being hired. They went through and did an analysis so we can understand what the wages are being paid. In terms of incentives, my concern is we're incentivizing our staff to get the minimum requirements for the job that they're being hired to do. That's what we continue to do. We can't find a good applicant, we bring an applicant in, we lower the bar to get them in, and then we actually incentivize them to get some of those initial certifications. I think what you've been hearing Administrator Waite and even myself mention a few times is not to eliminate the incentive program, to adjust it and change it. Well, it's eliminated when you see a bunch of red in the policy manual, but adjust it to a career development plan. And that is, if you can accomplish these certifications, this is how you grow your career and get to the next step. The idea shouldn't be to have someone come in at a base salary and stay there. They should want to grow their career. I guess utility worker 1, to utility worker 2, to 3, to foreman, whatever it might be. And that's where the incentivization should be coming in, is the incentivization should be to allow them to climb that next level for their pay grade. Then they move up to the step, and then I'm assuming there's a range within that step that they can grow in. Pretty public sector seems to have that. I don't see that we're getting rid of the incentive program as much as turning it into something more of a career development opportunity for them, and asking the department heads to work with their staffs to develop said plan to get them to move forward. Now, are we in no way talking about reducing pay of individuals that already have it, the incentives they already have? And we've also already even had some additional flags that we raised earlier on, well, how does the police union handle their incentivization compared to staff? We don't want to see a discrepancy there as well. And we'll address that when we have the opportunity to in the future. Now, he and I, because you did notice it was not on the agenda this time, and that's because Administrator Waite would like to spend more time talking with counselors. In my discussion with her today, she got very little feedback actually that came back since the last meeting. And she wanted to have more time to have a chance to chat with all of us before she brought it back before. So that's why. I mean, you're bringing up some great points, so I'm pretty sure Administrator Waite's probably going to want to sit and chat with you a little bit more at length as well. So I didn't mean to jump in, but I just wanted to get my 2 cents in there. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so in the packet, you will see that the City of Hubbard policy manual is in there. The incentive program, I did not eliminate anything out of there. That is still in what's in the packet. What I'm trying to move forward by having council approve the packet tonight is all the previous approvals, so like paid leave Oregon and language that we're not supposed to have in there any longer. And just some minor revisions, but the incentive program's intact and I have not changed anything. Like the mayor said, I want more time to talk to the council, figure this out, make sure we're doing it the right way. So I wanted to make sure that it was clear that I'm not trying to sneak anything through by putting it on the consent agenda.
I would not think you would do that. No, absolutely not.
No, but the goal there is to spend some more time on it. But again, I just want to be very, very clear in my stance, and at least in my discussions with Administrator Waite as well, is I would like to see us move our career development forward. Yeah. And I don't want to see utility worker one, stay utility worker one for 20 or 15 years. There's gotta be a career path for them, because that's how we do lose good people. Because they're gonna say, well, I've got these certifications now, and Woodburn is gonna pay me $10 more an hour. And they're gonna leave. We're gonna lose good people, then we're back.
Yeah, I've heard of comments that, about where, you know, they can go to work for Canby for quite a bit more.
Yeah.
But, so,
So, and we want to keep good employees. We don't want to lose them as well. So, Councilor Steininger, we're not ignoring you over there.
I don't have anything to bring up, and my biggest thing is I just want to be able to hire people as quickly that are skilled when we do need to hire somebody, so. So I think looking at it is important, and I did notice that you hadn't changed it in the packet, so.
The other thing that you did bring up, Councilor Yonley, was a fee schedule. I know we've already got that on the agenda for future discussions. We do want to study how that goes. I think it's primarily towards the water rates again. If you remember, as previous mayor as well, we've had it some sort of a schedule in the past, and there was a lot of questions about why are we raising these every year? What's it being used for?
mhm.
And I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago, the question came back, we really didn't know, maybe offsetting something. So we tried to figure out how to mitigate the impacts to our residents. And I think we're reapproaching it now. How do we redefine what the schedule should be and how do we move forward? Because I agree, we have a lot of individuals that are on fixed incomes. And a dollar here and a dollar there, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it does add up very quickly.
Yeah, so, yeah, back a number of years ago, we did, well, we've had various finance staff in it. And some of them have kind of spent down some of the fund reserves. And so that was one of the ideas at one point in time to, the reason we were increasing it was to rebuild those fund reserves that we need to have, just in case we do have a lot of break or something like that.
Which we do have now.
Yeah,
And I will
we have
commend,
rebuilt this.
since 2008, the city council, city staff's been doing a fantastic job of building up contingency and reserve funds. So, and we don't want to lose that. That's why we're looking for tax revenues or other areas that we try to offset those issues. Okay, if there's no other topics then from either counselor, we can move on then to city administration report outs. And if I don't hear anything, I'll move on to Administrator Wade.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. The burn rate report is attached, which reflects 25% through the fiscal year. Revenues are on track in most areas. However, the actual property tax revenue will remain unknown until the end of November. Staff continues to watch utilities as they are trending approximately 7% higher than budgeted. And then PGE has also stated that they plan on raising rates again after the first of the year. They're waiting on approval of a 10.9% increase.
And that's to the city.
That's to.
Everybody.
Yeah, that's to commercial. Residential's actually a little bit higher than that.
Oh, yeah, you should have done lower. Oh,
So, additionally, the police department's operational supplies budget is trending much higher than budgeted. But that is a result of purchasing the NARC Ranger, which, is covered by the CIS grant. So that will level out during supplemental one when I add that grant funding to our budget. And just there's a couple of things I want to highlight, and then I want to have a discussion item on what I posed in a weekly update to council regarding ballistic helmets. So I'll highlight a couple things first. Just wanted to highlight that Movies in the Park next season is now fully funded. Super excited about that. PGE is going to sponsor $1,000. So between Safeway, the Ford Foundation, and PGE, we can move forward with that activity. We'll have 3 movies, and I will post the days and times and what movies in the coming months. So excited that we can do that. I would like to remind everybody of the trunk or treat event at Revenus Park on October 31st from 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Please spread the word. We want people to participate, not only, come and get candy, but also maybe put a vehicle in to participate in the giving out candy. And then the other discussion item, during the fiscal year 24-25 budget process, The Budget Committee and City Council approved moving forward with some of the security upgrades that were requested during the budget process for the police department and City Hall. These upgrades included security windows and also some more secure doors and access points. And the total approved for these projects was $72,000 from the reserve fund. However, the incident that occurred last week, it was brought to my attention that the police department sworn staff do not have ballistic helmets. So they have baseball caps. To wear during emergency incidents, such as an active shooter event. What I'm recommending is $6,000 of that $72,000 be reallocated from the reserve fund, from the security upgrades and repurposed to the ballistic helmets, for the officers. I believe that the security upgrades are gonna come in much less than the $72,000, so I think we can absorb it in the current allocation. I just need council to approve repurposing $6,000 of that.
And I do want to point out, just, we have to buy these ballistic items, need to be purchased new. And older ones, used ones, et cetera, UV rays, et cetera, use, age will degrade their performance down. I do agree from my standpoint that our police officers should be outfitted with them. This isn't the first time we've had an active shooter incident actually within Hubbard. My first time, I think, for Chief Parisi, for sure. But it's better to make sure that our officers are at least protected to the best they can be when they do have to enter a home. That'd be my thought. Councilor Steininger?
Yeah, I think $6,000 is really cheap compared to a head injury, so.
Councilor Young?
Yeah, I'm in full agreement of repurposing that money.
So I'd like to, I'm assuming a motion on this one?
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to make a motion that we reallocate from the security upgrades fund, for lack of a better term, $6,000 to be repurposed for the purchase of ballistic helmets for the police department.
Take a second.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you. And that completes my report, unless council has any questions.
Is Councilor Steininger, any questions?
I do not, thank you.
Councilor Young, any questions?
Have no questions.
Excellent. The only question I have, movies in the park, awesome, by the way. I'm super excited to hear that it's completely funded by a company that's charging us more.
I know.
I do see the irony on that one.
I don't think there's a correlation.
Yeah.
Or not.
By the way, I do appreciate the issue tracker continuing to come in our packet as well, so thank you. If there's no questions, we'll move on to the police department and Chief Parisi.
All right, good evening, Mayor, Council, members of the community. Thank you. So yeah, here to report on September. It was a great month. We were involved with back to school as we engaged in our newly executed intergovernmental agreement with the North Marion School District to provide police services for them as well. It's been a great first month. We've been very busy, but in a very good way. We've been interacting a lot with the students and staff and family members and whatnot, just really passing out a lot of stickers as well. I have to tell you, the kiddos at all ages love stickers, and even so at the high school, it's amazing how much every time they see us, they want a sticker. So we've been able to participate in and support them with bus evacuation drills, school district-wide lockdown drill. I've also attended a school district safety committee meeting also. And we've been at the football games, cheering on the Huskies and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's been a great collaborative effort, and we're looking forward to the rest of the school year. I also attended the Fall Chiefs Conference. It was a 2-day conference. It was held locally here in Salem at the Police Academy, so that was nice. I was able to make it there. Sergeant Anderson attended some training this last month along the lines of child abuse investigation that was put on by the Liberty House Child Assessment or Advocacy Center. And so he'll be able to bring that training back to the rest of the team as well. We also had an on-site visit from the 3 area chiefs of police that are conducting our agency review, if you will. And so that's done through the Oregon Association Chiefs of Police, and it's something that we requested shortly after I got here. It's a best practice technique, kind of an industry standard, if you will, to really give us a good roadmap for the future in terms of where we want to go and whatnot. So they were here and they interviewed everybody within the police department, all the staff, our non-sworn professional staff with Molly, and then our sworn staff as well. And we got really good reviews verbally from them, but the actual report itself is about 2 to 3 weeks out. So we're looking forward to that as well. And Officer Marshall attended some training as well last month. He went to a pistol mounted optics instructors course, if you will, because here just before I got here as well, the department started transitioning to red dot optics on top of the pistols. And so obviously that's a different way of shooting that particular, weapon system. And so we have Officer Marshall that's now certified to help teach us and train us on that moving forward. So that was great. The contract with City of Donald continues to go very well. There's no issues there to report. We also last month had a meeting. I have the privilege of sitting on the user committee for Metcom 911 as we look at trying to professionalize and standardize the amount that each agency is paying and whatnot yearly for the services that they provide and what have you. Myself and Chief from Hubbard Fire are on that committee. So more to come on that. Was the first meeting that I've been part of and whatnot. So we're looking at how to standardize the prices that we're paying from years and years ago when it was pretty much just decided on a handshake agreement, if you will. We have interviews next week for lateral police officers. So we're looking at filling our one and only remaining position left. And that's about all I have.
Excellent. Another question I have is the report outs to Donald, how are they going? Not just the service, but how is their council report out going?
Oh, it's been going really well. Great feedback from that as well. We've, for example, we have an officer there tonight attending their city council meeting also. And we've gotten great feedback on the reports that we're providing.
Excellent. Questions? Councilor Young?
I do not have any, thank you.
Councilor Simon?
I don't have any either. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Chief Parisi.
Thank you.
We'll move right along to Administrative Department and we'll go to Director Noble.
Yes, I just wanted to say, first time ever in Hubbard history, 2 water accounts that were turned off for non-payment versus around 38. So
Yeah, circled it and said, woo.
administration is doing great on this and keeping up on it. Even the delinquency fees were down to $450 versus $8,000. So
Do you think there's any correlation on that going to monthly from bi-monthly?
no, that has to do with keeping up on, because I think there's some old things that were in there and now we're keeping better track of.
Either way, it was fantastic.
Yeah. I also wanted to report on the municipal court. Was October 2nd. And on court day, we took in $4,134 approximately in one day. Last court was around $5,000. I said that I would update you about the land use meeting coming up next Tuesday. And the items that are going to be on the agenda is 2 work sessions on the horizontal mixed use and psycho.
The psilocybin.
Thank you.
The mushroom.
The mushroom thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys are trying to say the word and not.
Psilocybin, yes.
Psilocybin. For time, place, and manner in the development code is what that's gonna be for the workshop. And, on my, the payroll quarterlies I have pending on there and I just completed those today. And I have nothing further unless you have any questions.
Councilor Steiner, any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Councilor Young, any questions?
No, I do not. Thank you very much.
Sure, let's move right along. Thank you very much, Director Arnold. We'll move on to Public Works Department and Superintendent Holder.
Thank you. So I did want to actually jump in on, and a huge shout out to administration as well, because we on the public works side, we are benefiting from the low number of rereads as well. What used to take one employee, almost a full workday to do the shut-offs, turn them back on. Now it's just a zip out, do 1 or 2 meters and zip, back out to turn them on when they get paid or whatever the situation may be. But so yeah, we're definitely benefiting from that as well. So good job. Yes.
So now you just need to translate that into dollars and burden rate from the employees not wasting their time, throw it on your review and things look great.
And then I did have a few updates on my report that I have provided. So the 2024 Leaf and Yard Debris event, we do have dates that have been confirmed. That's the weekend of November 15th through 17th, and then also December 6th through the 8th. It will be at Barnsley Park again. We found that seems to be the best with the parking lot structure of having those dumpsters there and for people to have an easy access in and easy access out. So we're looking forward to that. I did put out an initial Facebook post, just reminding people, save the date. This is coming, and then I'll put out reminders the week ahead of when those events are going to happen. I had mentioned that we had a wastewater at the lower wastewater treatment plant, a tree. It was a pretty significantly sized tree that has unfortunately been kind of dying through the years. So as part of a mitigation for risk of having that come down on its own, we did go ahead and get that tree removed. That's been, and that has actually been completed. We contracted out for that with R&R. And then in-house, we've also did some necessary branch trimming and clearing out. So that project has actually been completed. Other updates would be, so the wastewater treatment plant clarifier rebuild, that actually the reinstall was completed this morning. That went really smoothly. The contractors came in with their big equipment and got it in. And we are on track in-house to get that equipment back up in service by the end of this week. So that's pretty exciting as well for us.
Was that the big crane I saw?
Yes.
Down by the
Yes, they
creek?
showed up. They were scheduled to come in at 7. I was down there opening the gate for them about 6:15. So they came in early, but they're very efficient. They know what they were doing. They came in, got it done, and we're out. So that was nice. Good company to work with. Then, and just wanted to also mention, so I did mention that Public Works Foreman Mike Krebs, he completed the updated IS 300 and 400 trainings. These are emergency management trainings, and they are mandatory to have. So Mike did actually have those completed, but they just recently put in some new requirements, and the trainings needed to be completed again. So great job to Mike for getting that done. What the 300 was a 4-day training, all-day training, and then the 300, or excuse me, the 400 was a 2-day, all-day training. So, but again, good job to Mike for getting that done, and now he's up to speed on the requirements for that. Also wanted to give a shout out to our Public Works Assistant, Molly King. She has been doing an amazing job. As I mentioned in my report, she's been completing in-house training on the wastewater treatment plant daily lab routines. And she did complete her first solo work all by herself, no questions, went just smoothly as could be the week of September 23rd. And so she's going to be moving forward to start learning and training on the water treatment plant, daily routines as well. And then following that, we're actually going to train her on the BOD process as well, which is a once-a-week wastewater treatment lab process. The reason we're doing this, it's actually a strategic staff training plan to allow more staffing flexibility within our public works operations and department for projects that require multiple staff, task time off, as well as for emergency situations that come up. So it's actually a planned process of how we can most efficiently use the staff that we have. So we're excited about that. And Molly, like I said, she's been doing a great job. And it's a bit of a win-win it's definitely a win for the city, and it's a win for Molly as well, because she actually is very science oriented. So she's really been enjoying kind of digging into the labs aspect of that. So that's been awesome. A few other updates that I have. So unfortunately, because of a significant amount of competing priorities, I was not able to reach the point of readiness to share the new and improved sample project dashboard tonight, as I had hoped to do. However, I am on track for the November meeting to be able to present that, and I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be a huge improvement, so I'm excited to share that coming up. So I just wanted to give a few verbal updates on some of our pending projects. So a big one is our G Street sidewalk. We've actually got that tentatively scheduled to be complete by the end of next week. Right now, I'm just waiting.
The one across the railroad tracks?
Yes, across the railroad tracks. The contractor did final their document that they needed to have with the contractor and the railroad between them. I've got a copy of that, so we're ready to have that on site if we get any questions from the railroad. And so now, like I said, I'm just waiting for that actual date that they're going to be out there, and then I'll do some public notification, emergency responders, make sure they know that. I don't believe we're going to have to actually close down a lane, but I still like to give that notice, push that out, so everybody's aware that that's taking place, and use caution around the construction site as always. So
That's
that is
awesome.
exciting.
Awesome. My goodness,
Yeah, I'm
3
almost-
years in the works.
Yes, I was almost afraid to say it out loud. Hoping not to jinx that. Right? But yeah, it's quite exciting. Then on a downside though, unfortunately, I do have a little bit of not so good news with the tennis and pickleball court. Our contractor's schedule is pushing that into early November. So as I'm sure you guys are aware, unfortunately, that means we're really competing with Mother Nature on whether or not we're going to be able to get that completed.
So do we postpone that from November and wait till early spring?
Yeah,
Because again,
so
no one's gonna use it November, December, January.
Right. My hope is we still have a slight chance that we're going to be able to get it done. And the contractor and I had already worked out where if we can do it this season, we're going to do everything except for that final gloss finish that goes over the court, but we do temporary striping. So people, if they do come out, we have that sunny winter day and people want to come out and use the courts, they'll be striped and ready to go. And then the contractor would come back in the spring to do the final.
Is there any risk of degradation of the striping?
No, and it's
gloss?
temporary striping, so it would be redone with the gloss. But unfortunately, my best projection is that we are going to actually have to postpone the whole project until the spring. So, but I'll keep you all in the loop on that and how that progresses moving forward. And then the shop roof replacement project, we're on track to, I'm ready to award the project, I believe by the end of next week. So that's going to be taking place in the near future. It's a pretty short project. It should be about one full day plus maybe a half day in addition to that. So that'll be done. So that's exciting to get that off the list. I'm anticipating that the long-term T-Mobile lease that we've been working on back and forth with T-Mobile is going to be ready for approval in November. They've had a lot of staff changes back and forth. I think I've mentioned that in the dashboard before, and even just this last month, they had another staff change again back to another person. So, but like I said, I believe we're on track to get that ready for approval coming up in November. Our SB 1530 funded projects, including the industrial lift station and the dewatering system upgrade, those are definitely remaining on that fast track for completion by June 2025. And our other funded projects are also moving forward. And on the water project, I hope to have a few more exciting details on that, on the progress of that project that it's making. So yes, we're moving forward.
Excellent. Only questions I have for you, number one, is thank you very much on removing the tree. He's a tree gone, but it's the preventive maintenance and the damage it would have done, which will cost even more.
Yeah.
The other one, thank you on the risk mitigation in terms of cross-training mom. What an awesome opportunity for her.
Yes.
Also, how are we doing, or have we thought about it as a citywide, just generally speaking, probably on storm prep for this season? The next fall storm is probably around the corner. especially as we go through October, head into November, you know, we could have a good storm blow through, or is our generators ready, fuel stored?
Yep, actually, I'm glad you asked. That's a great question. So yes, we are definitely preparing. We always make sure that we have at this time of year, we're stocked up on gravel, we're stocked up on sand and sandbags. So those are available if there's localized flooding. We have pothole patch material that's ready to go. And we have already started the in-house refueling of our diesel generators and then also our diesel trucks that we have. So for instance, the crane truck and the one of our utility trucks as well. We're still waiting for the SPEAR grant agreement to take place, but once we have that, that's going to be our fuel storage. So that's another huge step forward for those emergency, you know, windstorms or, you know, something that knocks the power out for an extended amount of time. So we're really excited about that, but it's been working really well and very smoothly. We can really efficiently move forward, and we don't have to have a contractor come in, fill those the generators, and we just do it in-house. I mean, we still have to go out to purchase the diesel, but yeah, being able to take care of that ourselves has been huge. That's been really exciting for us.
Perfect. I'm just glad to hear we're prepped and ready to go.
Yeah, we
Hopefully,
definitely are.
for no reason at all. Hopefully, there is absolutely nothing we have to worry about.
Yes.
2021 and 2020 taught me that we definitely need to be prepared.
Yes.
Okay, Councilor Steininger, any questions?
I don't have any, thank you.
Councilor Young?
No further questions. Thank you.
Sounds like a courtroom now. All right, we'll move on then. Chief Carmen, do we still have you on?
Yes, Mayor, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Have the audio issue again?
It looks like you have the same audio issue.
That's okay. We'll forego it. We don't have to dial him in unless you can figure it out.
It's funny because I was talking to him when he logged in.
Can you guys hear me now?
I can try to get him on the phone.
Sure, we can try it that way if he doesn't pick up. So Chief Carmen, if you could probably hear us because we can't hear you, we'll try to just give you a quick call.
All right.
You want to go ahead and move forward and.
Yep.
we just come back?
Let's go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. That's a simple one. It takes me forever to read everything. We'll move through these pretty quickly. So on the consent agenda, we have approval of the minutes. The first one is for July 16th, 2024, Joint City Council and Planning Commission meeting. August 13th, 2024, regular City Council meeting. September 10th, 2024, regular City Council meeting. B, approval of the September 2024 check register report. C, Resolution 792-2024, a resolution establishing the National Incident Management System, NIMS, as a standard for incident management in the city of Hubbard, Oregon. D, Resolution 793-2024, a resolution repealing Resolution 748-2023, 768-2023, and adopting City of Hubbard policies for the city of Hubbard. Not to include any changes to the incentive program right now.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion for, actually, you have to make a motion.
I'm sorry. Make a motion, we accept the consent agenda as read.
All second.
Okay, now we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed say nay. Consent agenda carries. Do we have Chief Carmen?
Yeah, let me get him over here on the microphone. Can you hear us? Oh, you might have to put us on speaker or something. Okay, I have you up front. Can you?
You guys hear me now?
I can hear you now. You sound nice and loud and clear.
It started with my report. We're in the process of filling one of our vacant full-time career spots. The application period for that closes this coming Friday, and then the following week we'll have some testing. So we're hoping to hire that position out. And that, again, that's still in the vacancy. One of our full-time members took a job with Albany Fire, and he's still on a volunteer with us, but he has left that position. So 82 calls for service in the month of September. That's down from September of 2023, where we had 102 calls for service. Just most of the fire agencies in this area have had a slower August and September than normal. Don't know what to say about that. Besides, it's a nice break. The Hubbard Fire District is starting up a fire inspection program. We'll probably see this go live in December 1st or maybe January 1st. It's the first program of its kind for the Hubbard Fire District. We will go out, we will inspect businesses, public places, make sure they're safe for not only the employees, but the public that visits them. And that's in an effort to reduce all and keep all structure fires down as low as possible within our fire district. So we're doing whatever we can to take care of the citizens of Hubbard. Part of that is the fee schedule that was adopted our last board meeting. And when a business is out of compliance with the fire code, if we have to come back to enforce that a second time, then they get a fee for that. So it's not a way for us to generate revenue, but it is one way for us to make sure that the businesses are following the fire code. Any questions about that?
No, I think it's an excellent idea. Thank you. Any questions from the rest of the council on that?
Other than that, we're looking forward to trunk and treat. And then we've got a open house by Paint the Pumpkin. That's with first student. That's going to be on Saturday, October 26th. It'll be 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. First student is supplying the pumpkins. Families can come down and paint. We'll have some fire prevention and snacks. And from what I understand, there will be a food cart here as well. Should I have any questions for me?
What was that date again?
All right, can you repeat that?
What was the date of Paint the Pumpkin?
October 26th.
Thank you.
Councilor Steiner, any questions?
I don't have any.
Councilor Yonley, any additional questions or comments?
I do not.
Okay, Chief Carver, the only thing I've got to mention is, could you double check the city or the fire district's main line? Someone told me that it might have the couple of previous chiefs' message still on there and the mailbox is full.
Yeah, I can take a look at that.
Okay, and if I can get a better information on like what the exact number was, I'll let you know. But other than that, I don't have any additional questions. I do greatly appreciate you continuing to dial in and give us an update on the fire district every month. Oh, wait, we do have one more question from Councilor Yonley.
Yeah, so this is, probably not at a city council district level, but I do want to talk to you, individually. So when are you going to be in your office next?
I'll be in the office tomorrow from 8 to when we have our board meeting.
Okay. I'll come by and see you tomorrow sometime.
Okay, that sounds great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief. With that, do we have any other city business? Any other city business from city staff?
No.
Okay, next would be adjournment.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending.
Most likely we will not.
Well, you know, a lot of people are.
They won't let you walk them. Huh? Pretty much. Thank goodness I don't have to.
I say, on the other side of the street.
You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job.
Oh,